Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Bold Creatives Collective podcast. I'm so excited today to talk with Tiff about social media and being an artist on social media and how you show up in a way that really feels authentic and genuine and leading with your story. And Tiff is an expert at this, and I'm so excited that she's agreed to come hang out with us for a few minutes today to talk about this exciting topic. So, Tiff, would it be okay if you can just give the folks listening an idea of who you are, where you're coming from, and then we'll have some fun together talking about this stuff?
Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm Tiff. I am originally from Australia and I'm currently based here on the land of the the Darug people. I've just properly learned our Indigenous land
That's
properly.
awesome.
So yeah, I'm here in what people know as Sydney, and I run the Social Story, which is a social media agency for purpose-driven brands. We really put storytelling, authentic connections, and purpose into everything we do and help maximize the impact of our clients as well.
That's really awesome. How long have you been working in the space of social media in the way you are?
Oh, it's been over a decade now,
Okay.
which is insane. Yeah, I've done everything from being the social media intern because you were
Right.
young and you guys know
Right.
social, just jump on it. So working in like corporate agencies here in Sydney, and then moving into the business about 5 years ago.
Okay. Wonderful. So everybody, she knows what she's talking about. And I know that, when I work, Tiff, with artists who
Mm.
are really trying to make this happen for themselves, right? They want this to be their life's work. They have a lot of stuff to say. They are talented in just amazing ways. When I start talking to them about the importance of developing themselves as a brand,
Mm.
marketing themselves in a way that that elevates them beyond just an individual person kind of who is creating an obscurity. Sometimes I get crossed eyes looking at me, or like you know um almost like, what are you talking about, you vile person? Because artists sometimes don't necessarily like to think about themselves in such what they perceive to be a capitalistic kind of
Mm.
pursuit of marketing yourself heavily. But
Yeah.
what I really liked about um, our conversation that you and I had the chance to have a while back
Mhm.
is the focus on genuine and authentic relationship building through social media, and um, and developing your brand that way, as opposed to really heavily focused on just like selling something.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, yeah, social always comes with both its pitfalls and its opportunities. And I think, even for a social media manager who's definitely chosen this as her pathway, I can get really frustrated with socials, and I've deleted my personal accounts a million times. I try as much as possible to stay off it when it's not for work. So I
Right.
understand the grind and a lot of the negativity that happens on it. But I guess one thing which led me to start the agency was also because social's just the technology. We have the opportunity to create it into what we want it to be. And so, the development of our approach with storytelling is a lot to do with that kind of personal branding side of
Hmm.
things as well. I think, I've gone through a whole journey of really recognizing my own story and everything that's happened to me, and how that helps me show up as, the business person that I am,
Right.
or the social media manager that I am.
Right.
And it really is about both that kind of personal and then, choosing what to share onto social as well, as a way to kind of express that And I think artists in particular have such creative ideas in how to do that really well. But
Sure.
also, reach new audiences. There's such a great opportunity to find people in random niches that will really connect with your work all around the world in a
Right.
free and available platform as well. It'd be a shame not to use that audience
Right.
to grow and share your story further.
Right. And I think that's exactly right. It's there's a low, at least from my perspective, there's a low barrier to entry, right? And in terms of beginning to get your stuff out there in a way. And then of course it can become more complex, and you can spend money to, push it further. But as far as starting out, it's just like, a really easy mechanism to getting in front of folks, and you
Yeah,
can do it in the way that makes sense for you. One thing
for
that
sure.
one thing that I've noticed in the social space, I guess relatively recently, is that things are moving away from um, these, what are obviously very highly curated,
Mhm.
polished looks, to going towards something that is more, um this is going to be the wrong word, but just to get us going, like more randomized, right? Like
Yeah. No, I think that's
like
a great way to put it, let's be honest.
right, like we're moving away from this grid,
Mhm.
right? Of, everything looks the same, everything is very stylized, everything is very, very polished, to something that is more, this is life in action.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of approach has really resonated with me as an artist, in the way that I make my work. um it's not polished at all. I work really fast. I do things impulsively. And
Mm.
when I was trying to get myself out on social media in the ways that I was doing it, I was getting really overwhelmed with this perception that the expectation would be that everything is like perfect,
Yeah.
right? And
I
I
think that,
just
like,
pulled away from that.
yeah, I think even an analogy for that is like, some of the celebrities we love to follow on social are because they're super real and we see all the behind the scenes, them
Yeah.
away from press junkets, and them as real as we can say it. And
Right.
that essentially is what social's supposed to be. Like, even with your friends, it's all about like the really random moments. And more we're moving into that with platforms like TikTok and even Be Real. Like, let's be honest,
Yeah.
like it really is about, oh, we just want to capture that moment, that instantaneous, behind the scenes, really raw, sometimes on the toilet kind of moment. And
Yeah.
yeah, like it's okay to do that. I think, again, going back to that idea that it's free and accessible, social, like you can always archive it. It's like, you just put something out there, take it back if you don't um
Right.
like, think it fits anymore, and evolve yourself, unlike something as permanent as a billboard or a TV ad that you have to pay thousands of dollars for the placement. Social's a real exciting place to kind of play with it and
Right.
be so worried about, yeah, how it all looks and curates and
Right. And I
the
think what's fun about it is you can get immediate reaction, right? An immediate interaction with people who are coming across your stuff. It's not this static thing that
yeah,
people just pass by. They have this opportunity to really engage with it and engage with you, and get to know who you are and what you're about, in a way that
exactly.
if they
Yeah,
just
it's
turn
a
the
whole
page.
different experience to like having to go to a gallery and being put in with, other artists, and you just have your little placard on the side and a name there. Like,
Right.
here it's like your portfolio is there to shine in a way that you get to curate and tell yourself as
Right.
well. And yeah, show the processes, why this came to be, and like really explore more of the art than just the production.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So important to explore who the artist is, who how they make their work, why they make their work the way they do it, and hear it from them directly, and maybe even see how they're doing it. In a gallery space, for the most part, you're not invited into the artist's studio in the way that you can be on a digital social platform, right? You can see the process. And as a person who is an artist but also a collector, I have found so many different people over the last couple of years um not being able to really go to galleries like I'm used to going to by being on
Yeah.
social media. And I started buying work online, which I never thought I would really do. It's like, oh no, you have to be in person and
The
see the work and
purist
be
in
able to
you kind
touch
of
the,
dies a
yeah,
little.
it died a little bit, but it became so fun for me because when I purchase work or collect it, I don't really want to do that unless I have an interaction with the artist and
Mhm.
get to know them first. So every piece that I have, I've somehow come in personal contact with the artist.
That's
And
incredible.
it's been fun, right? Because I might like the work. I definitely like the work, but what I enjoy more is knowing why the work came to be,
Yeah.
right? How this happened and became this piece of art. Where did it come from out of the artist's being?
Yeah.
And to have that conversation is really important. And over the course of the past few years, because we've been living in chaos all around us, I could go into Instagram or some other platforms and really get to see work that I never would have seen, right?
Yeah.
Like down where you are in Australia, right? Like I've interacted with people down there, right?
Yeah.
And have gotten some work from some Australian artists that I would never have heard of before. And
Yeah.
talk to them and learn about their process. So how, how would you recommend, or what would you suggest to artists who are maybe hesitant to start to like show some of their process or tell their story or reveal their studios, um because there are people like me out there, right, who really want to know what it's about? How would you suggest that they start to dip their toe into the water in a way that might be a little less like
Scary.
nerve-wracking or scary? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first step with anyone who wants to grow something on social is really understanding why social. So, you don't have to have it as, a selling platform and immediately become an e-commerce person. You might just actually just want to share your story out there, reach more people. Whatever that why is going to kind of underpin all your content decisions and as well. So, if you're like, should I be posting this? Like, go back to that why as well. Like, will this help my goals and how I want to show up as a person as well? Like it's okay not to post everything and every trend. Like, I like to say that you don't love your dad any less if you don't post about him on Father's Day.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, you've got to make
Right.
those choices yourself of what makes the most sense, because people are going to see right through the inauthenticity if you're
Hmm.
like out there trying to do your little TikTok dances, but like, because you
Right.
think you have to. So
Right. If that's
really
not who
understand.
you are, right, it's not going to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I
Yeah.
think particularly for artists, like, go out there and have a look at what other people are doing. Start to see, oh, like, I don't mind if I just, put a time lapse on this, or
Hmm.
just have a look at that, and start to source some inspiration to help you edit those and find those boundaries between what you want to do and what you don't want to do. And then let your creative juices fly. I think that's the beauty of people who are already thinking in that creative way. So much of what's been able to happen on these platforms are through just really creative uses of it. Like, I used to be like the slightly older generation going like, what the hell is TikTok? And why are people
Uh-huh.
going on about it, but the way they're able to kind of like memify culture and really put themselves into everything in creative ways. And like some people go insane with their
Right.
like editing and transitions and everything. I'm always absolutely amazed. But
Yeah.
that's someone just took the opportunity and said, what can I do with it? And I think allowing yourself to both like, yeah, understand the trends and see what's happening there, but let it be a playground for you as well. That's going to be the best way to just see what works for you as well.
Yeah, you make some really good points, and you actually kind of calm me down a little bit in terms of my anxiety around some of the things that I have picked up over the course of time that, are you must be doing this
Yeah.
in order to achieve this. Like I think, well, I guess this is a question for you because there is a science to it in
Yeah.
some ways, right? And so if you're not someone who is a person who's going to do, a TikTok dance with the trending audio, um or who is a little shy with just being on camera themselves and doing reels or something like that, you
Mhm.
know there's the fear that you're not going to be recognized or picked up, right? And
Yeah.
so at a certain point, are you saying, or not are you saying, but would you say that it is almost not, social media might not be the thing for you? Or are you saying there are other ways that you can kind of get traction in ways that are comfortable for you, right?
Yeah, I think it is definitely a balance. Like it's always good to be using the latest innovations of the platform, but I mean, even in the past month or so, we've seen TikTok now try and bring in photos, and
Right.
obviously Instagram is going into videos and now have
Right.
statuses. And so, I think there still leaves that room to find ways that best makes sense for you. And even if it is reels, like, sometimes it is someone who writes poetry or something, and all they do is write it out on a piece of paper, film that, and that's real. Like,
That's
there's
crazy.
still
Okay.
ways to kind of think about it in a creative way that is still, comfortable for you. So there definitely is that balance that needs to be happening. I guess also in terms of kind of growth, we can get really bogged down in follower numbers, who's looking at this reel, like how
Right.
fast are things growing. And
Right.
sometimes it's good to also, put that aside a little bit. Like, yes, obviously you want to keep improving and keep growing,
Sure. Sure.
but it's also about understanding that, like, yeah, the first 5,000 are going to be really hard to find. And then it snowballs, and you'll find something that really clicks for you and for your audience.
Mhm.
Or,
Mhm.
one post might just go insanely viral. It might happen that way. But what we always try and focus on is those meaningful connections as well. It may not come in thousands of followers, but there is also that kind of algorithm hacking side of things that, even if you're starting small, but you have 100% engagement, which I mean is unheard of, let's be honest, but
Right.
something quite high because people are actually loving what you do.
Mhm.
That's better than 10,000 followers. One, no one's seeing your post because the algorithm has seen that they like rarely like your post anyways, and then keeps devaluing you.
Right.
So most accounts with 10,000 or more get about 1% of their followers actually seeing their posts.
Wow. Okay.
So like,
So it's not a good measure of what is actually working. You know, you
exactly.
you're
Yeah.
gonna
Because both, then you also have to look at with the people who are seeing your post, how many of them are taking action, liking it, saving it, commenting, or even like, following and DMing you to find out more. So starting smalls are always great to really build out that foundation and know that, you're got an engaged audience who can
Mhm.
also take those next steps for you, whether it be that you'll eventually want to sell from them, sell
Right.
to them
Right.
rather, or like, have them share your work. Um, yeah, it's kind of balancing between like, yes, we want to go big and try and get as many eyeballs on it, obviously, but at the same time, just ensuring that it's content that really sticks and not just
Yeah.
doing content for content's sake.
Right. Yeah. Right. And offering something of value,
Yes.
something of value, whatever that means for you, but offering it to that small group of people, because like you said, they're going to then be more prone maybe to take that and share it or save it, or, you know, tag their friends or something in the
Exactly.
comments to get their eyes on it. And I think if you're offering something of value that they want, that small group wants to see, it's much more, at least from my perspective, valuable
Mhm.
to your overall brand and marketing than to just be posting random stuff all of the time whenever you want to
Yeah,
and doesn't make
exactly.
sense. But I'm
Yeah,
also,
it is
go
about
ahead.
that value exchange, as we say. It's like, if you want something from your audience, what are you going to give back to them? Like, we always talk about, particularly accounts like Instagram and TikTok, as like lean back moments when people are using them. So they're like, chilling on the couch, probably on the toilet, like,
I know.
not engaged and like ready to buy all the time or whatever that might be. And so I think artists, especially compared to like brands, say, have such a unique opportunity to really inspire and elicit some emotion from them while they're just kind of scrolling through the mindless celebrity gossip or like their mates. Like,
Right.
there's something really interesting and emotional that you can get to the people while like they're in a moment of trying to relax.
Yeah. 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 And giving them something that sticks in their mind, right? That they want to go back to later, or something when they're not on the toilet and they have access to
Yeah.
their credit card or something, right?
Yeah.
But what about, you used the word exchange in reference to something a second ago, and that, triggered a thought in my mind about exchange, and then I thought conversation,
Yes.
exchange of ideas, exchange of thoughts, and the importance, I think, of making sure you're actually exchanging or conversing with the people that are coming to you. But I
Yeah.
also think that it's super important for you to go out and engage with other people that are outside of your profile
Definitely.
as well, right? And let people then see what you're about through how you interact with other artists or makers, right?
Yeah. So there's a number of things with that. Like, I think, firstly, social, like, unlike any other advertising platform, has that direct feedback. And so it'd be a shame not to use it
Right.
for that. Like, some of the best brands have been the ones that have been able to really humanize themselves. Like, even Wendy's on Twitter is
Right.
bloody hilarious. And
Yeah.
like, I just respect them as a brand now because they give no shits. And you see it on their Twitter,
Right.
which, they've been able to use the like kind of even trolling of Twitter into their favor, which is amazing. And so the more that, they're just kind of utilizing that conversation and the opportunity to humanize themselves as a brand is fantastic. But also, like, I think with every approach we do to social strategy or any of our content, I like to think about it in terms of like, you're in a party and you want to join a group that's already chatting. Like, you can either go, "Hi, I'm Tiff, come talk to me. These are the topics you'll chat to me about."
Right.
Or you can like find some common ground in what they're saying and then like slowly jump into the conversation.
Yeah.
Like, that's how social should be, is like,
Right.
where is your audience already? What are they kind of talking about? And then, you know, finding common ground and going, oh, by the way, did you know, like, my brand does something that can help with you? Or like, you
Right.
might feel inspiration here, or we have something to say. But
Right.
then, you know, to the last part of your question is that outreach. That's a huge part of what we do with a lot of our clients in what we call community management.
Hmm.
And one that's sometimes just answering customer inquiries. I think there's growing trends of up to about like 70 or 80% of customers go directly to socials first if they have a customer
Wow.
service inquiry, rather than a phone number or anything like that. Or they'll go and complain about you on socials. I think airlines get this the worst. And it can get picked up, and then that becomes a PR nightmare,
Yeah.
or whatever that, like, you know, snowball effect will become. And so, you know, making sure you are very active in how people are talking about you, but also other people of interest are talking about things, is a fantastic way to kind of just make sure that you are a part of that conversation.
Right.
People recognize your voice in that, and that you're able to really show off for, like, you know, your expertise or your artistry or whatever
Hmm.
that might be. And that can be as simple as like going through your explore feed on Instagram and commenting on other artists that, you know, inspire you, or like you
Yes.
see a process that's really interesting and you
Right.
go, wow, I might try that, or
Right.
something like that. Because it's like, yeah, artist to artist, and then they'll come check you out, and then
Yeah.
it gets filled in, and then like, you know, in the back end, the algorithms of Instagram are all reading all these subtle cues as well to also try and prioritize
Right.
you
Right.
in
This is an
their
active
feed as well.
account. This is an engaged account. This is somebody
Exactly.
who we should maybe elevate a bit and
Mhm.
see what happens. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, the thing about, going back to, the comment, I mean, over here in the States, I don't know if you heard about this down there, but, Southwest Airlines had this gigantic issue over Christmas holiday, right? And, I'm sure their socials were beyond on fire during that period of time. The people that you and I are talking to and about right now aren't a major airline, right? Who are servicing, you know, hundreds of thousands of people every day, right, and getting that kind of interaction with them. But I think we can take the idea of that and apply it to an individual artist
For
who,
sure.
sees somebody in their comments or giving a like, um and responding to that, right? Not just letting them pass by, but engaging them in some way. Like, hey, I've seen you around here before, like, welcome. I noticed that you like this image or this video or this piece of music that I posted. I'd love to learn what you liked about that, right? Or
Yeah,
hey, have you seen this particular piece that I posted a while back, right?
exactly. And
And
I
then
think
following
that
up
goes
with them.
to it, yeah, it goes back to when you were saying you bought pieces and you're able to have that interaction with the artists themselves. Like, I think with art, sometimes it can, like, we still talk about like high art, low art, all those kind of barriers and stuff. And of course, we're never gonna be able to just like call up Da Vinci and like go, hey,
Right.
what were you thinking with that, bro? Like, and there's such an opportunity, and it's something so special for a customer to get, like, you know, you think about when you buy from a small business and there's just like a cute little personalized note, or even
Right.
like, you know, when a brand regrams you because you were wearing their shoes and tagged them, like, you know, everyone wants a little bit of validation and recognition. And so it's just really nice. And again, it's that, you know, personal connection to your art, and it creates a whole different experience for people seeing art, that they're able to actually understand a story behind it, not just seeing, like, you know, the one piece in the gallery. And
Mhm.
yeah, maybe knowing a little bit about Da Vinci and whatever that might be. But,
Right.
you know, I think especially with modern artists, or like now when there are so many that we can find all around the world, and, you know, it's not just the four people, the turtles. I don't know my art history that well.
Okay.
I apologize. But yeah, like, you know, there is something so special that, like, oh, I'll be able to understand this artist in a further way. I think
Mhm.
for me as well, one of the things I've really connected with is knowing more about my tattoo artists as well. So I've got a few pieces around, and there've been people that I'm just like, I love how they conceptualize these
Yeah.
ideas, take on the briefs of their clients and turn them into something. And like in particular, there's this artist in Bali that like I've been gunning for a chance to get tattooed by her, because it is like I feel connected with who she is and
Wow.
how she'll
Right.
tell a story that will be something I want to wear on myself.
Right.
So yeah, that kind of personalized edge, particularly when you're dealing in something that is so much more creative and emotional, like art,
Right.
versus a product. Like there is something so special about that and rewarding for a customer, and also hopefully for the artists themselves.
Sure. Right. Yeah. It's not, interaction with art or music, which is art, or writing, which is also art, right? All these things are like human energy to human energy, right? It's
Yeah.
not like, you know, we're on a brand for like, the latest and most trendy, aluminum free deodorant or something, right? But we we are engaging with a part of somebody else, and somehow that part of them that they've put out in the world um is connecting with a part of us, and that is such a unique thing. I mean, you could go to any tattoo parlor or something and get the tattoo that you want, maybe, but you have a special interest and you feel some kind of connection with this person
And it's for the whole experience as
for the
well.
whole experience, yeah, that she
And I
offers.
think
Yeah.
there's also something in like, artists will evolve and change, and you'll try new things. Some things might not work, some things might, but if someone's interested in you, you'll be able to bring them on that journey. And it's like, rather than, if I was just to look up all the artworks of someone on a Behance or something, and it was like, oh, I don't know, like what this is. And then like, boom, I'm gone, I'm out. And it commodifies the artwork so much more, because it's only yes or no to what your product was. But if an audience member is able to actually feel connected to you and everything that you're going through, and then some days are a good day for you, some artworks really work, or like will connect with this person, or some won't, but if they're invested in a larger story than just what you produce, they're going to be around for longer, and
Yeah.
also accept whichever direction you may go until you really piss them off, which very rarely happens.
Right. Right. Unless you are a particular large organization that was trying to transport people at a certain point. Right.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Like
I've had to deal with that on the other side as well. So
yeah.
I've had the hate, and I'm sorry, but I can't do anything about it either. Like
Right. Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think that it's so important that we are using social media in a bi-directional way, like we've
mm,
just been talking about, instead of just slapping your stuff up there, and then walking away from it. And that
definitely.
really goes back to the point that you started out by saying, or one of your earlier points, which is, why am I
Mm,
doing this, right? Why do I want to post this? Why do I even want to be putting my stuff on social media to begin with, right? Is this
yeah,
something that I want to invest my time into, or do I just want to really keep it for, friends and family and dog pictures, and that's great, right? um
that's also fine.
yeah, that's also fine. But yeah, really having that answer to the why of it all, I think that is something that I'm really taking away from this conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Tiff, can you tell everybody who might catch wind of our conversation here today, where they can find you, how you might be able to help them, and um, yeah, just anything.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned that you have a workbook that might be available for folks to start out with.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of that answering the question of why and kind of seeing your story as more than just I make art or, you know, other things that you may be interested in, how that connects to the audience. Essentially that, you know, entryway into the conversation at the party. We've got a free workbook available on our website that will kind of start to get your thoughts flowing, to really understand your wider story and how you can use social to actually tell that story and start to find those boundaries of what you want or don't want. So
Great.
that's called the story activation workbook on our website, thesocialstory.co. And of course, you can find us on socials. You know, we wouldn't be
Yeah,
a
I hope you
social
will be
agency.
able to.
We don't have it. So we are the Social Story Co. on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And we're constantly sharing some of our inspirations, tips for, you know, using social media a bit more mindfully, both as consumers and as brands. And our story as well. You know, it's definitely been a journey trying to run a small business over the past 5 years, let alone the past two. So
Right.
we're on a mission to stay alive, but also do things as purposefully as possible. So we're taking everyone on the journey with us as well. So yeah, hope to see you guys there and definitely say hi. And, you know, I'll be back in the comments right back to you.
For sure. Participating in the way that we've been talking about participating throughout our conversation today. And everything that Tiff was just talking about will be listed in the show notes or whatever it is that we call those things down there. You can just click on it and go over and check out what she and her team have to offer for you to get knowing your story better. So Tiff, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us and giving us some insight and inspiration and ideas for how we can better engage our community with our work on social.
No problems at all. It was such a pleasure. And I can't wait to see what comes from it, to see more artists, you know, sharing their stories on social.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. This has been the Bold Creatives Collective podcast, and I am so glad that you joined us. We'll see you next time.